This is a production of Cornell University.
We're still analyzing the data, but we've made a progress report, which is the book that was published in 2012. And there the main finding was that the emergence of the economic order came from below. It did not come from the government implementing reforms that led to capitalism, but the capitalism that was the leading edge of the Chinese economy was, in a way, self-organized by entrepreneurs who emerged to take advantage of new opportunities that were made possible through the economic reform. And the surprising aspect was to see how in every one of the key economic institutions that a capitalist economic system requires, the labor market, the capital market, the source of supplies, the distribution, the organizational infrastructure, industrial clusters, were innovations that were devised from the bottom up. Now, we studied a region which is the epicenter of this of capitalism, the Yangtze River Delta, which is a three-province area around the city of Shanghai, Hangzhou, and Nanjing, and that's the so we were able to get extraordinarily detailed accounts because we were working with a survey research firm that went the extra mile to get high quality data, and we went the extra mile to train the people and to develop instruments that will allow us to gather the kind of data which cumulatively was made possible by advances in the social sciences, especially sociology, since the start of the 20th century. The founders of sociology didn't have the same tools that now we were able to use in studying the emergence of Chinese capitalism. So that's the main finding so far, is that first, the innovation to develop new ways of organizing manufacture, private manufacture, new organizational forms, and then the economic institutions that enable the firms to build a competitive alternative economy from the state-owned economy, and one which was not only highly competitive in the domestic economy, but which proved to be very competitive in the global economy, that China became the factory floor for the world, essentially, and much of this was taking place in this Yangtze Delta region. So we were able to then pinpoint the mechanisms that were key, and these mechanisms were the type that allowed me to then do what George Holman's hoped that I would do, which was to study the ways in which networks and the norms that are enforced by networks provided the social foundation for the institutions that then were crucial in providing a self-reinforcing basis of economic growth in this sector that began very much at the margins, very much a discriminated, semi-illicit part of the Chinese economy because they were private in a society that spent 2.5 decades attacking private enterprise under Mao. By the time we were there, they were clearly the leading edge of economic growth. Not the only edge, because the state-owned firms still make up maybe 45% of the Chinese economy. But this story was something that I think was the major finding, that it's only after the economy was the private economy was already developing its scale and main source of non-farm employment and creating tremendous private wealth and forming the basis of a large middle class and reducing poverty. Then the government saw that this was such a broad and important, indispensable part of the Chinese economy that the government at that point, then already by 2004, 2007, began to put in place the formal institutions and the rules that would legitimate this form of production, providing it with constitutional rights, and then in 2007, the formal set of property rights. So in many ways, this was the opposite of what had then been the received wisdom of economists, that you first, and this is again the argument from Douglas North, who's a friend of mine, that for an economy to develop, you need to first have in place the property rights and the formal rules. And then once that's in place, then you would have economic growth. But what we found was that first you need the informal institutions that provide the basis of economic institutions that are created by economic actors. And then if they produce growth and wealth, then this government then comes in after that to put in place the formal rules. So that was the main finding.
This has been a production of Cornell University, on the web at cornell.edu.